At age 18, I dropped out of high school with one goal in mind, and that goal was to become a successful entrepreneur. By age 19, I was still broke. In fact, I was so broke, I had to get a job working as a warehouse operator, right? So this job was a 1 hour commute there, 1 hour commute back, and I'd be working 12 hours, 6 fucking days a week, all for minimum wage. And then to make matters worse at the time, I ended up losing that job. So I ended up having to jump onto universal credit, which is government welfare in the UK, which is basically when you're so fucking poor that the government have to give you money for food, otherwise you're gonna starve. That's how fucking poor I was. Now, this is where the story takes a hit, but because by age 20, I was in Las fucking Vegas, in Alex Hormozi's headquarters, teaching him how I made $36,000 a month using his platform called School. And out of that $36,000, $32,000 of it was pure fucking profit straight into my pocket. And a couple of months before that, I just hit my first $17,000 a month. And then since then, it's just been constant $15,000 to $20,000 a month, sometimes $10,000, sometimes $38,000. And it's just been an amazing lifestyle. And since that time, I left my home country, which was the UK. I left that council estate, that council area, and I now have officially moved to Thailand, where I'm training to become a professional Muay Thai fighter, which has been my dream for a very, very long time. Now, the reason I'm making this video is I want you to do the same. And what I've actually done is I've sat down and I've reflected for a bit on how I got here. And as I was writing down how I got here, there was 5 books that kept coming up. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing these 5 books with you. And I'm also going to be sharing the key points of the books that specifically made a difference in my life. And I promise you, if you watch this video until the end, if you lock the fuck in and you end up watching the video until the end, and then you go ahead and you go and read those books, I promise you, 6 to 12 months from now, you will absolutely make a minimum of $10,000 a month. That's a promise to me. That's a promise to you from me. I kid you not. These books are that transformative. So I don't want to waste any more time with some long ass, fancy ass introduction. So my name is Zain Mia. I run an online education business that makes multiple 6 figures profit. And I've just moved to Thailand to chase my dreams of becoming a professional Muay Thai fighter. So that's me. That's the topic of the video. Let's get fucking into it. All right. So the first book I've got listed that completely changed my life, and this might actually be a book you've heard of, but in a negative way, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book pretty much just gives you the entire blueprint to getting rich, but not from the perspective of do this, do that, do this. It's more so, as the book suggests, think and grow rich. It's more so from the mindset perspective, how you think, how you act, how you behave. So there's 4 things he specifically taught in this book that once I applied to my business, my life completely changed. The first principle he taught, and by the way, if you see me writing, I'm just making fucking notes, whatever, is desire. Desire is the most important thing if you want to get rich, but not just any desire. You need a burning fucking desire to get rich. Now, I've seen an amazing analogy by Andrew Tate. He said, imagine you were sitting on a bunch of rocks and these rocks were like burning hot. You were lying down on them to the point they're about to burn you. Would you hesitate to jump off those rocks? No, you wouldn't. In fact, it's your body's automatic reaction. I think I learned about it in biology. It's called homeostasis. Your body would flee off. You wouldn't even consciously think about it. The same way that if you were dead broke and you wanted to get rich, the only thing that's pretty much stopping you is the fact that you don't have a burning desire. So then, when you're sitting on your bed, what do? You go on your browser and you search pornhub.com and you start fucking jacking off. You know why? Because the situation you're in right now, you don't want to escape that. So you need to understand, if you want to get rich, the thing you need the most is a burning desire to get rich. I remember I would come home at around midnight or like 1 a.m. sometimes from this job. And I'd go and sit on my bed and I would literally gag before I would go to sleep. Like my family's already asleep, right? Maybe my mom opened the door for me, then she went back to bed, whatever, or my dad or whatever. And then I would literally be gagging like I'm about to fucking throw up, because I knew what I had to do the next day. I had to go sit on a bus with a bunch of fucking random Asian dudes, random fucking Ethiopian and Somali dudes. The bus was loud, it was wet, it was noisy, and I had to go drive 12 hours. And not 12 hours, but I had to go drive an hour, come back. And I'd have to do this shitty job where my feet would literally hurt. I bought new shoes with my fucking paycheck. That didn't even work. My body was literally breaking right in front of me because of the manual labor they were making me do. I had to fucking get rich. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, you know what, Zain, I'm not gonna lie, like my life's pretty good, bro. Like I go to school, I got a job, whatever, it's pretty consistent, you know, it's an office job. I don't have a desire to get rich as much as you did. Does that mean I'll never be rich? And the answer to that question is no. You still can get rich, because the best thing about fucking desire is a desire can be instilled within you. You can increase your desire to get rich. And the way you do that is through some basic fucking introspection, bro. You sit down and you ask yourself, okay, am I where I want to be in life right now? No. Where do I want to be? and you visualize the shit that you want, right? So for me, I visualize this fucking jacket. I visualize these chains, right? It's not a cross, by the way. It's an Uzi. It's a fucking gun, right? And, I visualize myself wearing all these nice pieces of jewelry, training Muay Thai in Thailand. And I said, I'm pissed that I can't get there. I visualized myself walking into a room and everyone fucking looked at me. And I was pissed that wasn't me right now. In fact, there was one time where I walked into the place where you have to go claim your government welfare, universal credit. And I seen the most beautiful, and when I say most beautiful, I mean the most beautiful woman of my entire life. This most beautiful Pakistani woman of my entire life. And she was fucking standing there with a clipboard, right? So I walk up to her and she says, name. And I say, Zain. And she says, over there. And I kid you not, this bitch didn't even fucking look at me. She grabs her clipboard and she says, name. I say, Zain. And she goes, okay, way over there. And she just points to a fucking seat. So when I was in that position, I desired to walk into a room and have presence. And now I have that presence. People come up to me all the time saying, are you a celebrity? Are you a rapper? Are you an influencer? Are you rich? I'm neither of those things, except for rich, of course. But I'm neither of those other things. But yet people, they're magnetized towards me. Random people smile at me. I desired that. So obviously, those are the things that I personally desire. Whether you agree with them or not, it doesn't fucking matter. Sit down and think, what do you truly want from your life? And be annoyed with the fact that you don't have it. And that is how you increase your desire. Another way you can increase your desire, according to the author of the book, Think and Grow Rich, which is Napoleon Hill, is by creating something called a definite chief aim. So this is pretty much where you write a statement, by this day, I'll make this much money and I'll have this kind of lifestyle. And you read that every single day in the morning when you wake up, first thing, and you read it before you go to sleep. And what that does is that reprograms your subconscious mind to focus and fixate on this goal. Because how many times have we been in a situation where we've set this amazing goal and then we wake up, right? 3 a.m. Bro, we've all been there, 3 a.m. You fucking jack off, you bust a nut, you got mad post-nut fucking clarity. And you say, what, I'm going to lock in. You make this insane goal in the notes app on your phone, maybe a paper journal like the one I've got right now. And then guess what? You wake up and you've completely forgot. And that's it. You're just drifting through life again. But if you had to read this statement in the morning and you had to read it before you went to bed, surely it would be impossible to forget that goal. And of course, you wouldn't remember it initially after the first few days. But as you do that consistently for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, months and months, I promise you can't forget the goal and you're going to become obsessed. And when you're speaking with people and they're talking about stupid memes and sending you memes and doing all this stupid shit, your mind is just like, how the fuck are you not trying to get rich? And all you can think about is money. And I promise you, not in a destructive way, right? Before some dude comes, money is not everything. Listen, I'm not saying money is everything, but it is a big thing. And I promise you, when you're obsessed with money to that degree, it's impossible to stay poor. I'm telling you right now, I had the most craziest burning desire and I implemented what's in this book and my desire could only increase. So even if you're someone right now whose situation is not that fucked, you can increase your desire. So that's the first principle from the book that completely changed my life, was understanding you need a burning desire. The second thing is, he says you need a strong belief, you need faith that you can actually get rich. Now, this is the thing, right? If you don't believe that you're truly going to get rich, you just won't try. I promise you, I knew I was going to get rich. Not because I had the method. In fact, most of my businesses that I actually tried initially failed, and your businesses have probably failed as well. Not because I had the method, but because I knew I was never going to stop. I knew I was never going to give up. I knew no matter what happened, I was going to sit there at my fucking computer at 2 a.m. in the kitchen, right? Because that's all I fucking had, bro. We live in a council house, you know what I'm saying? All I had was the kitchen. I'm going to sit in there till 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. It doesn't fucking matter. I'm going to sleep 3 hours and I got work the next day. I don't care. I am going to figure out how to get rich. Because I believe I'm going to get rich. If you don't believe that you're going to get rich, you're just not going to do the work. Point fucking final. And even if you do the work, you're going to half-ass it. You're not going to put your 100% into something. Whereas if I came to you and I said, do this and you will make $1 million a year, would you do it? And I said 100% guaranteed. I showed you all the evidence. You'd fucking do it. That's the reason why people stick to a 9 to 5. That's why they stick to their jobs. Because they have 100% faith that they're going to get paid. They know, I turn up, I get paid. It's as simple as that. It's the same shit with business. If you believe that you're going to get rich, you're not going to stop. You're not going to give up. It's point fucking final. Simple. You need to have this crazy, almost delusional to everyone else, but it's not delusional to you. You're not saying to yourself, yeah, I'm tricking my brain into believing I'm getting rich. You need complete faith that this is the thing you're doing and that you're going to get rich. And if this doesn't work out, you're going to sit there, you're going to figure out how to fix it, and you're going to do it. And if that business fails, right, and it's time to throw in the towel, you're going to start a new business, and you're going to start a new business, you're going to start a new business, and you have to believe that you will get rich. You don't understand. I weighed myself today when I was in the Muay Thai gym, right? Because I'm preparing for my first fight soon. And I was 69.45 kg, right? So I'm about 5'6", 5'7". Now, to me, this was crazy because when I started my cut, I was 92 kilos. So how the fuck did I go from a 92 kg obese motherfucker who's dead broke, who works in a warehouse, to being 69.45 kg, about 16% body fat, soon to be shredded, soon to be a professional Muay Thai fighter, who's absolutely fucking rich living in Thailand. How? Because I believed I would. Because I visualized it. I had this desire before it happened. And then I visualized it and I believed in it, and then it became to reality. So if you want to get rich, you need to believe right now with 100% faith that you will get rich. Now, again, but saying I don't believe I can get rich, guess what? You can increase your fucking belief. And guess how you increase your belief? By doing the definite chief aim, by writing that statement, reading it every day. And on the bottom of it, you know what you write? Napoleon Hill tells you what to write, in fact. So go read the book. He says you write down, I have full faith that I'm going to achieve my goals. And then, you know, you just kind of tell yourself, I see the money, I can feel it, I can touch it, I can see it in my bank account, my app. And by reading this statement 2 times a day, eventually you just start fucking believing it. And also, this is something that I'm adding, you just do actions. Eventually, you're going to make your first dollars online. And when you make that first, I don't know, let's say $100, then you're like, fucking hell, I just got to do this, 100 more times. I make 10K, then you make your first grand, then you make your first 10 grand, and then that's it. You're out the matrix. So the second concept he talks about in the book is belief. Without belief, you are nothing. I promise you. You can have the strongest life. If you don't believe you're going to get rich, guess what you're going to do? You're not going to start a business. You're going to go back to a 9 to 5, and you're going to work for men like me. So you need to believe that you're going to be rich. So that's the second principle. The first principle is desire. The second principle is belief. Now, the third principle he talks about, it's not really a principle like in the chapters, but it's a point he mentions, which is your state of mind. He says your state of mind can only be in 2 places. It can be in a positive state, so you can be in a positive state of mind, or you can be in a negative state of mind. Now, when you're in a positive state of mind, this is where your body starts attracting riches, your mind starts attracting riches, you start attracting female attention, you start becoming more charismatic, you speak different, everyone's looking at you, everyone's smiling at you, you're working on your business with love, and you feel that you're going to become rich. But a negative state of mind is the opposite. It's where you walk in a room and no one looks at you. It's where you're speaking to people and they speak over you. It's where you start your business and you keep failing no matter what, even though you're following the blueprint that someone's given to you. And the craziest thing is, the positive state of mind attracts wealth, and the negative state of mind is the opposite. What the fuck's the opposite? Unattracts, detracts, but basically pushes wealth away from you. And the crazy thing is, your mind can only be in one of these 2 states at any given moment or any given time, meaning you can't have some positivity and some negativity. No, you're either positive or you're negative. It's binary. And so that means the second you stop believing you can get rich, or the second you believe, this ain't gonna work, or some bullshit, negative bullshit, you're never gonna be rich. So you need to make it your duty right now to become in a positive state of mind. So that means when some dumb bitch blocks you, or some dumb bitch flakes on you, or some dumb bitch does something to you, I don't give a fuck. Positive state of mind, locked in, gonna get rich. Also, when your friend or your family makes a negative criticism about the business that you're trying to start, don't give a fuck. Locked in, I'm positive. I know this is gonna work. I love my life. Again, something goes wrong in the business, you tell yourself, it's not over. Okay, it's not over. I'm gonna figure this one out. We're gonna fix it, and I'm gonna get rich. Okay, and that actually reminds me of something that I didn't actually write down, right? But he talks about this concept called temporary defeat, right? And this taps into that positive, negative state of mind thing. And he says there's no such thing as failure. And when I read this, I remember I was fucking mind boggled, even though it's common sense. He said there's no such thing as failure. There's only such thing as temporary defeat. And he actually tells a story in this book about how there was this one rich guy, and he bought a bunch of like machinery and equipment to go dig for gold during like the golden era, where there was like there's a big gold rush, right? And he couldn't find the gold, and he kept looking, and he just could not find the gold. Meaning he invested all this money in this equipment and he couldn't get rich. Then he gives up, he throws in the towel, he says, you know what, there's no gold here, I give up, fuck this project was failed, right? So he believed he failed. Yet a homeless man comes up to him and he says, let me buy your equipment off you, right? How much would it be? Because the guy's selling his equipment. And he tells him a price, very cheap. The homeless guy's homeless. So he goes to his family, goes to his friends. He says, listen, there's this huge opportunity. Borrow me this money. I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to buy this equipment. I'm going to get rich, right? So this old homeless man, he had the desire to get rich. He had the belief, and he was in that positive state of mind. And this taps into a temporary defeat, by the way. So keep fucking listening. Don't click off. And he buys all the stuff. And what he does is he hires some archaeologist or some guy who knows about land. And this guy pretty much scans around for where the gold is. And it turns out there was lots of gold there. So this homeless old man finds the gold and he becomes a fucking multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire. And guess what? The guy who sold him the equipment was 3 fucking feet away from gold. 3 feet. 3 fucking feet. That's like the size of a child away from gold to the left. All he had to do was take a little left and go 3 feet down. But guess what? That guy threw in the towel early. Little did he know he was only 3 feet away from becoming the richest man in the area. But that homeless man then became that richest man, okay? And now, the reason I tell you this is it bounces into that concept of temporary defeat. There's no such thing as failure. There's only temporary defeat. If you start a business and it fails, it's not over. You're not fucking dead. You can start a new business, or you can ask yourself, what went wrong and how can we fix it? All the other guy had to do is think, okay, maybe let's think about this intelligently, okay? There's no gold here. Let's see what we can do about this. Let me go speak to some professionals, hire them, and we can figure it out, right? But he threw the towel in, and that was at his I guess the word's demise or whatever you want to call it. That was like his downfall, essentially, okay? So that's like the fourth principle I want to talk about from the book, right? There's no such thing as failure. There's only temporary defeat. So you need to always be in that positive state of mind, okay? Now, the next concept's a bit of like a taboo, kind of weird concept, but I want to talk about it like to you, man to man, because I believe that if you tap into this concept, you will get rich. And that's the concept of sexual transmutation. Listen, most men will do crazy things just to have sex that can cost them their life, cost them their reputation, and basically cost them everything that they've built. This is why you see men who pay for sex. This is why you see men who rape people. This is why you see men, you might have seen a stupid meme, right? It's not even a meme. It's like this viral video that went viral on the internet of a woman in a supermarket just shopping, and a guy busted a nut on her leg, and he just runs out and she starts screaming, oh, he nutted on my leg, you know, da da da. It's like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, why would you be going out to the supermarket, busting on people's legs? And there's loads of sexual perverts in this world. So now I'm not saying that I did that. I've never done anything like that. Nor am I going to, and I'm assuming you haven't, or hopefully not. But if a man can control his sexual energy, he's unstoppable. Because if you look at most of the distractions that you have in your life right now, they're probably porn. They're probably talking to girls on Instagram. They're probably scrolling on Tinder and dating apps trying to get laid. But why are you trying to get laid if you ain't even fucking got paid? You understand? You need to make money first, but it's a woman that's going to distract you. That's why in the movie The Matrix, they've built that term, the woman in the red dress. As soon as everything is going right, the woman in the red dress will come and she'll try to stop you. And I 100%, I experience this all the time. Even now, right? I'm locked in. I'm in a period of celibacy, so I'm not really going around like fucking girls or anything like that. But I walk into certain rooms and this woman looking at me, they come up to me, they talk to me. And I'm like, you know what? I could take this woman home right now. I've got the lifestyle and I could fuck her. But what would I truly get from that? Nothing. I wouldn't get anything from that. So why the fuck would I waste my time doing it, right? Because I could have taken those same 2 to 3 hours that I spend with this woman, or the same money that I spend on this woman, right? Like, let's say we go out for a meal, we smoke some shisha or whatever, and I could have put that into my business, and I could have got richer, I could have got more successful. So the concept you need to master is sexual transmutation. This is basically the idea of taking your sexual energy and redirecting it into something meaningful, something that's going to help you grow. Because I remember when I was in chemistry in school, you know, believe it or not, I actually remember this. There was a term called the conservation of energy, and it basically states that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Energy can only be transferred from one form to another. And it's the same thing with that sexual energy that you have. You might think, you know, I can't work or anything until, you know, I bust a nut or until I go fuck a bitch, whatever. But you can work. All you need to do is redirect that energy into something else. Because when you're on this path as a young man, obviously you want women, you're lustful, you want to go around, you want to fuck all these women, but that doesn't benefit your business, okay? So what I did is I went on a period of monk mode completely, where I didn't talk to any woman. I cut them off completely, and I went all in on my business. And the funny story is that when I reached my success, I started dating. Okay, I started dating a bunch of women. I was on Tinder, you know, I was approaching women in real life, and it absolutely destroyed my business for a month straight. Like, the business absolutely tanked. I was like, fuck this. Back on a period of monk mode, and then I moved to Thailand and I got richer as fuck. Okay, so those are the 4 or 5 sole principles I learned just from the book Think and Grow Rich. I'm looking at my phone right now. It's been 18 minutes on one fucking book, bro. We got 4 more. That's how valuable this video is. This might be the most valuable video you watch this entire year. So yeah, so you have desire. You need a burning desire. You need unwavering belief. You need to have a positive mindset at all times. You need to understand failure is not a thing. There's only such thing as temporary defeat, which is good news. And you need to understand the principle of sexual transmutation. So that's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, the second book that I read that absolutely changed my world and helped me become a 6-figure profit entrepreneur was a book called Relentless by Tim Grover. Now, Tim Grover, he is a basketball kind of mindset coach, and he coached Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, and these are like basically the best basketball players like in the world, right? Like, or I don't fucking watch basketball, but they supposedly are, right? And in this book, at the start, he tells a story of how whatever team was, I think it was the Lakers or the Bulls, whatever, right? And Kobe Bryant was doing a shootout for them, a penalty shootout, and his ankle was broken. His ankle literally rotated the other fucking way. But guess what? He was still there. He still threw the shots and he still scored all of them and his team won the match. So I need you to imagine that this guy, Kobe Bryant, you know, may he rest in peace, was in the most physical pain of his entire life, but he still persevered through, he still pushed through, and he still got the win for his team. That's what kind of man he was. So the moral of that story is, keep going no matter what. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, I remember I was speaking with a friend, he's like, yeah, I'm sick. I'm like, okay, and? You still gotta work. He's like, yeah, but it's gonna stop me from recovering. No, it's not. How the fuck is sitting at your laptop, doing a bit of work, gonna stop your immune system from recovering your sickness? What else are you gonna sit in bed watching Instagram reels and you think you're gonna get rich? No, that's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry to tell you that. If you are on this path to get rich, you need to be relentless, which means you keep pushing through no matter what. So the first principle is, the title of the book, Relentless, keep going no matter what. You think when I was working 12 hours in that warehouse, I wanted to work on a business? You think I really, after 14, 15 hours, I wanted to come home, work on a business and then sleep for 3 to 4? You really fucking think that? No, but that's exactly what I did. That business didn't even work. But again, I understood the concept of temporary defeat and I built a new business and a new business and a new business and eventually I got rich. Okay, so that's the first principle of the book. Just keep going no matter what. The second principle in the book is controlled rage. Every man has an anger inside of him. You've experienced this. There's just some dark internal thought in your mind. There's some dark thing that pushes you to keep going. And you need to own that dark side and you need to keep going no matter what. So I'll openly share what my dark side is, right? Because obviously that's what this channel is about. You know, it's about me being authentic and sharing stories with you. And my dark side was always for status, to have high status, to be like respected, okay? And that's all that motivated me. But instead of saying, you know what, chasing status is bad, or you know, it's materialistic, or it doesn't mean anything, I owned it and I took that energy and I pushed it into my business. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get high status, I'm gonna become respected. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what fucking happened. I reached that point, okay? So that's what you need to understand, right? There's some fuel in you right now, right? There's some dark fuel inside of you right now that's gonna help push you beyond your natural limits, and you need to tap into it and you need to own it, okay? And the next principle from that book is never be satisfied. Demand more from yourself than anyone else ever could. And that's a quote straight from the book, actually. You know, this idea of you need to demand more from yourself than anyone ever could. Now, I'll give you a quick story about this. I was training Muay Thai today, and I was just fucking dying. I was on the last round of pads, you know, 4-minute rounds, and we're going mad. We're just going bam, 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 bam. We're hitting the pads, and I felt like stopping. And my coach was like, okay, you know, we can take a rest. I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not gonna let my coach dictate my limits. Not in a disrespectful way. Like, I fucking love my coach. You know, he's like a brother to me. But I need to demand more from myself than anyone else ever could. So guess what I did? 2 minutes into the round, I pushed through the other 2 minutes. And I got the round done. And then after that, I was on the fucking floor. Okay? But guess what I did after that? I did hundreds of sit-ups. I got punched in the abs over 100 times. Because I need to demand more from myself than anyone ever could. You should never be satisfied as a man. And again, you might think, you know, that's just chasing money infinitely. Cool. That's your belief, but these are the principles that I'm sharing with you that have allowed me to become financially free. You can never be satisfied. The second you become satisfied is when you start chasing sex, when you start watching porn, when you start doing drugs, you start smoking, and you start doing all these destructive habits like eating junk food. You need to have the mindset that, I believe it was either Michael Jordan or I think it was Michael Jordan, where they asked him in an interview, no, actually, no, it wasn't Michael Jordan, it was Kobe Bryant. And they said to him, actually, fuck, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, same thing, right? And they said to him, you know, how do you feel about the match? And he looked around and he said, job's not finished. Job's not finished. I don't give a fuck about this one match. Let's win the tournament. Job's not finished. And you need to have the same mindset when you're working on your business. You need to be relentless. You need to be sitting down, work. And there's no point where you're like, you know what? I've done a decent amount of work today. You know, I'm just going to sit in my bed. I'm going to chill. Then I'm going to go to sleep. No. I'm going to keep going until it's bedtime. Then I'm going to fucking sleep. Then I'm going to wake up. And then I'm going to do more work. And this idea of never be satisfied pushed me so much that even on the 1-hour commute to the warehouse, I was reading books and making notes on my phone about all the books I was reading. And on the way back, I was doing the exact same shit. I'd come home and I'd work to the point where I had to sleep. Otherwise, I'd either be fucked the next day, which obviously I didn't want, or I would just fall asleep, okay? Like sometimes I'd fall asleep in the kitchen, I'd wake up, bro, it's like 5 a.m, I'm like, fuck, and I just get up and I just go upstairs and go to sleep. So you need this mindset of never be satisfied. So those are the principles from the book, Relentless by Tim Grover. Now, I could go into more depth about this book. He talks about 3 types of people, and you want to know what category. And so I recommend you go read that book. Now, the next book is called The Almanac. It's called The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. Okay, so Naval Ravikant, he has this book called The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. I don't know if it's he's written it or someone else has written it, but it's basically a compilation of his famous tweets and his famous points. Now, who's Naval? Naval is an absolute fucking rich motherfucker. So this guy's a billionaire. He's an early investor in Uber. He's an angel investor, and he's made this book teaching you how to get rich. Now, there's only 2 principles that I learned from this book, but honestly, I could talk about these talk about these 2 concepts all fucking day. So the first concept he taught that really changed my perspective was, if you want to pursue the game of entrepreneurship, you need to choose a business that you have genuine curiosity towards. You need to pursue your genuine curiosity. Now, what does that mean? It means you need to chase something that you're actually curious about, or I guess some would say passionate about, or something that you care about. So, for example, when I started business, I ran a social media marketing agency. This was my first ever business. Guys like Iman Gadzi were popping off, a bunch of other guys. And I was like, you know what? I just want to get rich. I'll just do whatever it takes. I couldn't do it because the niche that I chose, firstly, it was like a roofing contractor. So I'd call these businesses and try to sell them some social media marketing, and then plumbers. And then after that it failed, I did like car shops, like auto body shops that would wrap people's cars. And I just didn't give a fuck about these industries. I just couldn't care less about these industries. So no matter what, I wasn't doing the work. Whereas someone else who's actually passionate about obviously the actual business model, which is running ads, he's genuinely curious. He's gonna sit there, bro, like fucking, researching how to run ads. He's passionate, he's curious, learning about meta, all this bullshit. And then he's gonna sit there and he's gonna outwork me. And even if we did the same 12 hours of work, because he cares about that business model more and he's more passionate about that topic, my 12 hours and his 12 hours just won't have the same output no matter what. They just can't, because his mind's locked in. Meanwhile, my mind's just wandering. Does that make sense? So you need to be genuinely curious, not only about the business model that you choose, but the topic that you choose. And someone who really reinforced this for me was this online entrepreneur. His name was Andrew Kirby. I actually had the privilege of jumping on a call with him for 30 minutes. And he basically changed my paradigm. And he said, what are you genuinely curious about? And he introduced me to this concept. So at the time, it was sexual transmutation, right? That's all I was fixated on. And he goes, why don't you start a business around that? So I was like, how would I do that? He goes, well, you can teach people how to do it, right? And I was like, yeah. So I started a business about something that I was just researching for hours every single day, something I was locked in on. And guess what? That was the business that allowed me to quit my job, teaching men how to quit porn and teaching men how to control their lust and channel that into a business. And that's exactly what allowed me to get rich. And I also have like one of my clients, like inside of my program, his name's Benny, and he teaches men how to deepen their relationships and, build like a polarizing masculine, feminine dynamic between yourself and your girlfriend. And that allowed him to make over $20,000 in a single month. And he's someone who came to me making absolutely zero. He'd had a bunch of other businesses. He started a business in this one and it became a success. So if you want to get rich, don't just think, okay, what business model does the guru on fucking YouTube recommend? Because then you're going to come across some bullshit video by Mark Tilbury saying, start a Shopify AI store, where he's the only one getting rich, selling you on an affiliate link. And again, nothing against Mark Tilbury. I've actually met him in London. He's a fucking amazing guy. He's really friendly. Like, it was a pleasure to meet him. But again, that's low-key a fucking scam. Like, let's fucking face it. Or again, maybe there's guys out there who are not scammers, right? And they sell courses on SMMA, they might sell courses on drop shipping, fucking high ticket sales, whatever. If you genuinely don't give a fuck about those things, you're never gonna get rich doing them. I promise you. Now, this is another thing where people come up to me and they say, fuck your passion, because they might have seen a clip by Andrew Tate saying, fuck your passion. Do you think the guy who, is a billionaire of concrete is passionate about concrete? And I'll say, well, bro, like, you could go start a concrete business, or you could just start a different business about something that you are passionate about and get the same result. Like, you're still gonna get rich, but you enjoy it more. You don't have to choose between, being poor and doing something you enjoy versus being rich and not doing something you enjoy. We live in a world now where there's infinite ways to make money, and you can just get rich doing something you enjoy. In fact, I'm starting a new business in the Muay Thai industry. I'm not gonna go into more details on that, but I'm starting a business in the Muay Thai industry, right? Because I might as well. And I see a gap in the market. So I'm just gonna get fucking rich off that, right? So genuine curiosity. The next thing that Naval taught whoever taught in this book, The Almanac of Naval, is a concept called leverage. He says, it's no longer rich versus poor. It's no longer blue collar versus white collar. It is now leveraged versus unleveraged. So think about it. If you want to get rich, it doesn't matter if you're starting rich or poor. It doesn't matter if you work a blue collar job, which would be like, manual labor, or if you work a white collar job, which is like accounting and some fancy ass shit. It doesn't matter. All of that's irrelevant. If you want to get rich, it's leveraged versus unleveraged. Now, what that means is you need to find a way to make money without actually working. You need to find a way to make a lot of money by having time and whatever you create just work for you. So he talks about there's two types of leveraged businesses you can start. The first one is a business that's coded. Okay, so this would be like you start a software company and people subscribe to the software, and that software is just printing money for you whilst you're sleeping, because once it's built, it's built. So an example of this might be, I don't know, let's say Spotify. Spotify is already built. The music gets added. The owner, he's not doing anything. He's just getting rich every time someone subscribes. And the second business, or the second type of leverage, I should say, is media. So that's making content. So that could be a YouTube video, a podcast, a book, some kind of content that, again, works for you whilst you sleep. So for example, if you look at like YouTubers that sell info products, like for example, me, I have an online coaching program. I just have to make YouTube videos. I just make Instagram stories. And then those stories can be shown to millions of people, 1,000 people, 100 people, whatever. And those people can then say, you know what, fuck with this guy. Let me buy his product. Like this video, I don't know how many views this video is going to get. I'm not really making this video to get views. It's not optimized for that, as you can fucking see by the setup and everything. But, you know, you might fuck with me and you might buy one of my programs. You might buy one of my products, or you know, I'm gonna make a book in the future. You might buy one of my books and you're like, you know what, fuck with this guy, okay? And this video that I made, might have taken me like an hour. It's gonna make me rich, okay? So that's the concept that he taught. So again, I sat down and I said, okay, I need to pursue a business that I'm genuinely curious about, and then I need to pursue something where it's in a form of content, because I'm not gonna learn to code. That's gonna take me 3-4 years, and I don't know about you, but I ain't waiting 3 to 4 years to make 10 grand a month, right? And I didn't, and I literally done it in less than a year, okay? So I got this idea of sexual transmutation. I made content about quitting porn. I made content about sexual transmutation. People fucked with it. And then I sold a few guys on how to actually quit, and I got rich, okay? In fact, if you want to start a business, I recommend you start an online coaching business, but that's just a side point, okay? So that's the leverage that he talks about. Now, I realize that he basically gives 4 types of leverage, okay? He says you can get rich by having people work for you because they do the work for you. You can get rich by having money work for you, so that'd be investing in assets like Bitcoin, stocks, other forms of crypto, or maybe paid ads. And then obviously there's the media and the code, and he basically says those two are the most overpowered strategies of all time, because you can get rich without working. But I want to add a 5th type of leverage to that, and that's having a mentor. I genuinely believe having a mentor is one of the fastest ways to get rich, because what took that guy 5 years to learn, what took that guy 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to learn, he's going to give you all of that information packaged up nicely straight to you, and you basically just skip that 2 to 3 years of grind and hustle, okay? So an example of this is I jumped on a call with Andrew Kirby, and he mentored me for 30 fucking minutes, and he said to me, start this business. I started the business, bro. Fucking out, 3 months later I quit my job. I kid you not. But if I didn't jump on that call, I would have still been searching for years and years and years and years trying to get this information that I'm giving to you right now, okay? So again, I want to add a type to that book, and that's a mentor, okay? So that's that book, Naval's book, Genuine Curiosity and Leverage. Sounds simple, but I promise you it's overpowered as fuck. Now, the 4th book that I read that absolutely fucking changed my entire life was The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort. So you might have seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, and the main character in that, his name's Jordan Belfort, but the real Jordan Belfort actually made a book on sales, okay? And I actually had the privilege of eating dinner with Jordan Belfort in London. I think it was in like October 2024. I must have paid, I think it was like £4,000, so it was about $6,000, $6,000, to basically sit down with Jordan Belfort and learn everything he knows about sales. And I promise you, it's worth every single fucking penny. In fact, I would say right now, if you want to become an entrepreneur, even if you don't have a clue of what business you're going into, the number 1 skill that you need to get rich is sales. Every fucking thing is sales. The way you present yourself is sales. The fact that you're going to have something that you're going to sell, right? Even this pen was sold to me. That's fucking sales. Everything that you have as an entrepreneur is sold. That's how you make money. You sell shit. So if you don't know how to sell, you're never going to get rich. So I really recommend this book called The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort. In fact, if you want to learn everything there is about sales and everything I even learned from Jordan Belfort and a bunch of other books, I'm launching a new school group. It's going to be called Sales Accelerator, which is going to teach you every fucking thing in the world there is to sales. This is honestly the greatest online sales program in the entire world. Like, think about it. The guy who runs it, aka me, paid $6,000 to sit down and eat dinner with Jordan Belfort. The guy who made the fucking movie The Wolf of Wall Street, I learned from him in person. I've read all his books. I've read multiple other books. I've been in the trenches. I've done thousands of sales calls. I've made like, well, how much have I made? I think I made 250 grand last year. I made $250,000 profit last year. I'm going to teach you everything I know about sales for $39 a month. So I'm pre-launching that group right now. So if you want to get in at $39 a month, just click the link below and you can sign up. But let me get into what he actually teaches in this book. He teaches that there's a system he created called the 3 10s, okay? The 3 10s, okay? There's 3 things you need people to have 10 out of 10 trust in for you to be able to close them on any deal. So this is important. They need to have 10 out of 10 trust in you as a person. They need to have 10 out of 10 trust in the product that you're selling. And they need to have 10 out of 10 trust in the company you're selling the product on behalf of. Now, obviously, if you're selling your own product, right, you're like me, they basically just need to trust you in the product. But if you're like doing door-to-door sales, high ticket sales for somebody else's offer, then of course they need to have 10 out of 10 trust in that person too. Unless people have 10 out of 10 trust in you, the product, and the company you're selling on, they will never buy. Okay? And in the book, he teaches you how to actually do that. But the crazy thing about that is, it's common sense. Okay, they need to trust me. But most people, when they're in a sales scenario, they don't even personally connect with the person that they're selling to. They don't even talk about the benefits of the product and how it can change that person's life emotionally. They don't even talk about the company they're selling on the behalf of and how that company is the best company and it's the fastest growing and it's revolutionary. They don't do any of these things, yet they wonder why they can't close a deal. So that's the first concept in the book that really changed my life, because now when I'm in a sales situation, I make the person really trust me. I tell personal stories. I also, pitch the product in a way where they know, okay, this is going to help them. And if I'm selling on behalf of a company, which I've never done, it's always myself. Again, I give them a reason to listen to me. So that's the first concept. The second concept that he teaches in this book is you need to have the right tonality when you're selling, and you also need to have certainty. Bro, you don't understand. People are so fucking scared of sales to the point that they won't even speak with confidence on the sales call or in a sales situation. Like, they're shaking on the fucking call and they're like, fuck man, I might not be able to deliver the service. And you wonder why you can't sell it. You need to speak to the person in such a way he can feel the fucking energy transfer from your chest straight to his, and he's like, wow, this guy says this product's the best, but you know what? He means it. I can see on his face that he means, when he says this product is the best, he truly means it. Like, I don't see this guy flinching. I don't think he's lying. All right, fuck it, let me buy it. Okay? You need certainty in your voice, and the way you get that is through your tonality. You need to speak in a specific way. Sometimes I'll be shouting. Sometimes I'll be quiet. I'm using my tonality to move you with my emotion. And again, he talks about not only speaking with the right energy and changing the inflection and the tonality of your voice, but you need to speak with your body. Because when you speak with your body, just like I've been doing this entire video, people can feel that, this guy, he's competent, this guy, he's trustworthy, and this guy, he's certain on the product that he has, okay? So that's the second principle, okay? So the first principle, 3 10s, you need 10 out of 10 trust in 3 things. Then you need to speak in a certain way, and you need to have the right certainty. And the third thing he taught in the book, holy shit, like this is the whole concept of the book, is a principle called straight line selling, okay? So this is basically, I want you to imagine, there's point A here, and there's point B here. This is where the sales scenario starts, and this is where the sales scenario ends, okay? The fastest way to go from here to here is a straight line. It's not up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's a straight line, and we want to take people on that straight line, okay? So maybe we go through a call with them, we build some emotion and whatnot, and then we pitch our product, we pitch our service, whatever. Now, this is the close, right? I'll use the red pen so you can actually fucking see it, okay? So this is the close, this is where we start. I bring him here, and I say, do you want to buy it? And he says no. He says, no, I don't want to buy it. I need to think about it. So what has he done? He's moved me off the straight line. So my goal now is not to go diagonally. It's to go back on the straight line and then walk closer. Then he gives me another objection, and then I bring it back to the straight line, and I keep going. So what this principle basically taught me is you need to just focus on getting to the sale. Because, for example, someone might give you an objection. I need to think about it. And you're like, okay, cool. Think about it, bro. Call me. Tell me what you think. Or he might say, are you sure this will work? And you say yes. But instead of saying yes, you start rambling about some other bullshit. So he took you off the straight line, right? I'll use the red pen again. He took us off this, like, imagine that line there, right? He took us off it, and instead of saying yes and bringing it back, we bring it all the way back here, and we start talking about some bullshit that was earlier on in the call. Now, of course, the person's not gonna fucking buy from you, because you've just taken them all over on this emotional roller coaster when you need to get closer to the sale. So he teaches you this concept of straight line selling, and in the book he goes in depth how to take someone from A to B, which is where the point where they sell. And I kid you not, this program absolutely changed my life. Well, this book changed my life, right? Now, as I said, I paid about $6,000 to learn in person from Jordan Belfort. I literally sat down at dinner with the motherfucker, had an amazing chat. This guy's an amazing fucking person. If you want to learn how to sell, even if you don't have a business right now, just understand the number one skill you can learn as an entrepreneur is sales. If you want to learn sales to the highest level, I have over 75% conversion rate from a high ticket program. That's how I'm able to make 6 figures. And you want to learn from a guy who's learned from Alex Hormozi in person, he's learned from Sam Ovens, he's learned from Russell Brunson in person, he's learned from fucking Jordan Belfort and Mark Tilbury, a bunch of other entrepreneurs. I've learned from these people in person. I've sat down, I've eaten with them. If you want to learn everything I know about sales, everything I've paid over $10,000 to $20,000 to learn, I'm going to teach you everything I know for the first 50 people for $39 a month. So you can click the link below, join the school group, and I promise you your life will change. $39 fucking dollars a month. I want this to be accessible, and I guarantee you this is better than 99.999% of high ticket programs out there. There's sales programs which are 5 to 10K. I kid you not, mine's better. It's $39 a month. I kid you not. So click the link below and join right now. So the next book is a book called Essentialism. I forgot the guy's name. I think it's like Greg McCowan or some bullshit, right? But this book changed my life in the sense that it taught me how to work on one thing at a time. Look, as a young entrepreneur, you're excited. Okay, I'm only 21. You want to start 10 businesses. And when you start, even if you start one business, you want to do 10 different things within that business. But the problem is, you can't focus on all these different things at once. So the principle of the book Essentialism is to basically be an essentialist. What that means is do the essential things only. It's the idea of less is more, focus on one thing. And again, if we go back to what I taught about sexual transmutation, I taught you a concept called the conservation of energy. And it says energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred from one form to another. So if you're putting your limited energy into 10 different things or 10 different things within one single business, how can you expect that business to blow? You just can't. That's extremely, extremely irrational. You can't. But if you were to take that same energy and instead of putting it into 10 things, you put it into one thing, that one thing now has 10 times more energy than those other things would have, which means you'll get more results. So what I actually applied from this was I need to choose one business model and I need to stick to it religiously, and I'm going to go all in on that one business model. And when I choose that one business model, I'm not going to do all the forms of marketing, because for example, I teach people how to build online coaching businesses, right? That's my higher ticket program. I'm not going to tell you to do YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, all these things at once, because you can't. I'm going to say, you know what, go all in on YouTube, go all in on Instagram, go all in on one thing. Or perhaps if you're someone who still runs a marketing agency and one of those like older shitty traditional businesses, again, don't be doing cold calls, emails, and all this shit. It's not feasible. You need to focus on one thing, get really fucking good at that one thing. And instead of, doing 100 cold calls and then 100 emails and shit, if you just sit down and you put all your energy into becoming the best salesman on the planet, and all you do is you focus on 100 cold calls, and after that, your only focus is improving your sales skills to improve your cold calling, who's going to be the best cold caller? If you're a guy who uploads on YouTube like 3 times a week versus another guy who uploads on YouTube 3 times a week, and he does Twitter, and he does Instagram, and all you're doing is learning the YouTube algorithm, how to blow up on YouTube, who's going to have better videos? You. And you're going to get the best results. So that was that concept of essentialism. It made me monogamous to one business, and it also made me realize that it's not about doing 100 things in a business. It's about doing 1 or 2 things maximum that have the highest output. So that means I stopped trying to run 3, 4 businesses at once. I absolutely dropped the other businesses. I went all in on one. I applied all the other principles that I spoke about in this video, and that's it. I got absolutely fucking rich. Okay. So honestly, let me recap the books. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill talks about desire, belief, temporary defeat, how you need to be in a positive state of mind, and such transmutation. Relentless by Tim Grover talks about how he coached Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, and how these guys had this controlled rage. They were never satisfied. They kept going no matter what. Naval's book, The Almanac of Naval, he talks about genuine curiosity and leverage. And then, of course, there was the 4th book, which is The Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort, an amazing sales book. Like I'm telling you right now, the #1 skill as an entrepreneur is sales. If you want to learn it, you don't need to pay people thousands. $39 a month. Click the link below, learn from me. And the 5th book was Essentialism. Less is more. So that's it for this video. I'm 100% confident if you read these 5 books and you implement them, and as a bonus, you join the sales accelerator below for $39 a month, I promise you, you will make $10,000 a month, minimum 3 to 12 months from now. I fucking guarantee it. At age 18, I was nobody. I dropped out of school. All my teachers were laughing at me. I make more than about like fucking 5, 6 of those teachers combined every single year, maybe even close, like about 8 to 10 of them every single year combined, and projected to hit 1.2 million a year profit soon. And I promise you, everything I said in this video will absolutely change your life. I went from an absolute broke nobody, people used to laugh at, to making multiple 6 figures profit, living in Thailand, training as a full-time professional Muay Thai fighter. I have a dream, and I've managed to become financially free and chase that dream. And I promise you, you read these books. As a bonus, you join the Sales Academy for basically $39 a month, which, bro, it's pennies. It's basically free, and I promise you, you will make $10,000 a month. So that's it for this video. If you fuck with the video, like, comment, bro, leave your thoughts in the comments, obviously, subscribe, all that bullshit, and you can actually follow me on Instagram if you want to stay more closely connected to me. And with that said, there's nothing else to be said, so see you in the next video.